Big show. So big, you get rid of the H, you use the Y. Huge show today. The Masters, Thursday Night Football. Joe Tessitore here in Vegas calling Crawford Brook. We're going to speak to him in a little bit. But welcome to the show. He's Tyler Fulgham. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. This is Bet. To all of you on Facebook and Twitter watching the show, thank you. To those who might want to check us out on YouTube, where ESPN is migrating all of its sports betting content, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. We start with hotness. Ooh. This guy, not physical appearance, although, yes, very good-looking man. But the Eliminator Pool, my friend, you continue to sweat and you continue to produce. Had the Steelers last week, eked it out against the Cowboys. You also told people to be weary of the Arizona Cardinals, who lost to the Miami Dolphins. How you feeling? Are we thinking long-term now, or are we thinking about projecting?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've made it to week 10, basically, so we're more than halfway through the season. We're feeling good. We know the strategy that I've kind of employed through the first half of the season. I'm going to stick mostly to that, maybe with some tweaks, but I'm feeling good about this week, so I think I make it to week 11.
All right. So the strategy to this point has mostly been bet against the Jets and the Giants, bet against the great city of New York, and it has worked swimmingly. What are we thinking for week 10?
I'm not going to be going against the Jets or the Giants. I'm actually going against a team that's on there as well that I think you can pick on when they're in bad matchups. The biggest underdog on the slate is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're traveling to Green Bay, Lambeau Field, to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense, which is gangbusters. He, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, they're going to score points. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense is wretched this year. 6.4 yards allowed per play. That's second worst in the NFL, and it's an historically...
You're getting a first down in a play in the third.
Exactly. It's an historically inept number. They're the worst in terms of sack rate in the NFL, so a comfortable, cozy Aaron Rodgers in the pocket with all kinds of time to throw to Devontae Adams and whoever is healthy. Again, they're 13.5-point favorites. I think they easily win this game. With whether it's Jake Luton or Gardner Minshew, looks like it might be Luton again. I just don't think the Jags have a chance.
Spinorama with Luton. It's a very nice play.
That was it was like a giraffe, baby giraffe, kind of like, boop, boop, and then somehow hit a spin move. Whoever that D-back was that missed that play for the Jaguars probably heard it during film study. But Pack the pick, not gonna try and get cute here. Big favorite at home. I think they win.
All right, so we're going with the Packers this week over the Jaguars. I like it. You always give people one team to avoid as well. Possible upset alert. You called it with Arizona last week. Who's this week?
The Cleveland Browns. They're 3.5-point favorites against that Houston Texans team that barely escaped against Jake Luton and the Jags last week. But I'm worried about this spot because Deshaun Watson is playing great football ever since Bill O'Brien's been gone. He's been phenomenal. Nick Chubb may be back, which of course helps, and we know Kevin Stefanski's going to run the rock, and the Texans do not have a great defense as far as stopping the run, especially with their inside linebacker Bernardrick McKinney out. But the Browns will brown from time to time.
Yes, they will.
I know we're thinking this may be a new-look Browns team, and I do think they are better, but Deshaun Watson is clearly the better quarterback in this matchup. And anytime the better quarterback's on the underdog, we have a live dog, as they say. So I'm wary of the Browns. Not that anyone is used to using the Browns in an eliminator pool.
No,
but
they are not. They're used to betting against the Browns.
Exactly. I'm wary of Cleveland this week against Houston and Deshaun.
As you know, and as everyone else knows, I do not play eliminator. Not by choice. I was eliminated in week 1, so I'm not allowed to continue.
The Jags, ironically enough. They did you in week 1 against the Colts.
Really hope they don't knock us each out, because then what are we going to do? Start the segment every Thursday. I like to just give out a bet here. That is the name of the show. San Francisco 49ers plus 9.5 against the New Orleans Saints. If it gets up to 10, that's even better. Think about the scenario. The last time everyone watched the Niners, they were on Thursday Night Football getting rolled by the Packers. Last time everyone watched the Saints, it was Sunday Night Football, and they were rolling through Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Should be easy peasy, right, for the Saints? Numbers a little high, in my opinion. Niners getting a little bit healthier. Be very, very careful with the Saints this weekend. Potential letdown spot. 49ers plus the point. So here's the reminder of what we've got cooking this week. Tyler's red hot. He's looking to take it all the way to Thanksgiving and beyond. Green Bay over Jacksonville.
Green Bay.
Double-digit fave. And Cleveland is the team to beware of. I say take the points with San Francisco because I like to bet, and that's the name of the show. Now, enough with the salad, the hors d'oeuvres. Let's get to the main event. Joe Tessitore, man, myth, legend. He is in Las Vegas. He's in the bubble calling Terence Crawford and Kell Brook, which is this Saturday night on ESPN+. Tess, we always love you. Thank you and welcome to the show. Terence Crawford, a massive massive favorite in this fight, but he's had an 11-month layoff, and Brook isn't bringing any belts to the table here. So I'm curious, any potential letdown spot here, in your opinion, for the pound-for-pound champ?
Joe, Tyler, always good to be with you as well. It doesn't happen with Terence Crawford. He doesn't understand letdown. He is the consummate professional. This is a guy who stayed in the gym all through the pandemic. And keep in mind, when we analyze fighters right now and we start going through that checklist of things we look for, we will 90-something% of the time right now see that a guy is coming off his longest career layoff because there was a pandemic. There was a pandemic, guys. Guys weren't fighting. The sport was shut down completely for 3 months. And if you're a major fighter, once it reopened in June, the major fighters weren't fighting then. So it took time for them to say, okay, will there be a live gate? Will there be fans? Do I get to fight in front of 20,000 the way I'm used to fighting? Remember, we're talking about Kell Brook and we're talking about Bud Crawford here. These are guys who fight at the O2 Arena, at Madison Square Garden. They sell out NBA, NHL level arenas. So almost all high-level fighters will be coming off their longest career layoff unless they had a big major injury to overcome. In the case of Bud Crawford, it's never a concern. You don't worry about how is he living between fights. Is he being responsible? This guy is wired differently. He reminds me a lot of Bernard Hopkins in that way. So no, the layoff is not a concern.
Crawford has knocked out 7 of his last 8 opponents. Now, the over-under for this fight is 9.5 rounds. Crawford by stoppage at any point in the fight is minus 225. Any of those happen to wet your whistle?
How much do I love over-unders in boxing? How much?
They're your favorite.
They're my favorite. They are my all-time favorite bet, right? I don't like it here. Ooh. I think they've nailed this one. I think it's right there. Now, do I have concern about Kell Brook when it comes to the damage he took in his 2 biggest fights? Remember, this is a guy who broke each orbital bone. Triple G took care of one, Spence took care of the other. He has titanium plates surgically inserted around his eyes. Swelling, inflammation becomes an issue. Crawford loves touching guys there, right? Could be an issue. But in sitting with him, in understanding that he's rejuvenated, that he's restored with taking the time off, with having fights fall through in 2019, of coming in the way he's coming in, he's a guy that's going to give everything. The swelling around the eyes concerns me for a late stoppage, but the fact this guy is coming in the way I am assessing him, mentally and physically, knowing how rugged he is, I think he's going to extend Crawford. I think this is a much tougher fight than most people are giving credit for the fight that is made on paper. So, even though I love over-unders, and I would normally tell you, take the under, I think the value play when I look at the prop bets is actually something I pointed out to you, Joe, earlier today, and that is my reaction to the Crawford by decision or on points, which I think right now is tracking at plus 225, if I have that correct.
You nailed it, Tess. 225.
Okay. I think that is actually the one that screams off the paper as the value play. Now, in boxing, the value play, where you think there's value, isn't always the best play. Even though it's a big, thick, chunky money line, and oh boy, do I hate money lines in boxing. Do I love prop bets, and do I loathe money lines? I like the money line here. I like Crawford money line here. And that goes so much against the grain of my being.
Well, Tess, if you take Crawford in the money line, which most people think he's going to win this fight 99 times out of 100, but there's going to be someone out there who's going to take Kell Brook on the money line plus 900 because they're feeling sassy because they want a nice ROI. So a lot of gambling is creating game theory, match theory for this particular bout. If Kell Brook is to pull off the upset, how would he surprise Crawford? What's the most likely way that he can beat Crawford given his skill set?
Well, first of all, everybody needs to take a massive step back in discussing Kell Brook as some type of easy touch or that this is like something where it's just being served up on a silver platter. Kell Brook is actually the kind of fighter that we want in the sport, a fighter that takes great risk, has taken great chances in his career. The guy has lost 1 fight at 147 pounds. won. He's a former world champion with a signature win against Sean Porter. As a welterweight champion, he went up to 160 pounds and took on a prime Triple G. These are the kind of fighters we want. His one loss at 147 pounds is against Errol Spence, another pound-for-pound great. So give credit to who he is as a fighter. If he is to pull off the upset, I think the fight would have to take the form of the other recent upset that we all just celebrated, of what Lopez did to Lomachenko. And Lomachenko was a very slow starter that night, guys, as you recall, those first 7 rounds. Bud Crawford, at times, has been a very slow starter. So what Special K would have to do is come out, put forth that plan. He's got a great counter jab, by the way, a very sturdy, consistent jab that is also utilized as a counter jab. And bank early rounds and then fight nearly flawlessly on the back half of that fight and try to win on points. We just saw it on October 17th. The #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world was just upset on October 17th following the same path. We have the #1 fighter pound-for-pound in the world here 4 weeks later.
Tess, 2-part question for you on the way out the door. Number one,
yes.
Considering how fantastic Terence Crawford's career has been, why is it that he doesn't get more universal love as the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet? That's number one. And number two, if he survives this fight, do you have a particular dream matchup that you'd like to see him take next, if it could be possible?
Sure. Yeah. Well, let's get to the first question. Number one, and Bud just spent about an hour talking to us about this. The amount of haters you have when you're the king, the amount of haters you have when you're on top. Everybody wants to tear you down, right? He was talking about fighting Manny Pacquiao, and everybody said, oh, Manny Pacquiao shot Manny Pacquiao signs with another promotional group and fights Broner and fights Keith Thurman. Oh, and Manny Pacquiao's great. What a fight we've got here with Manny Pacquiao, right? So when you're Bud Crawford, everybody wants to hate on you because they want the position you have. Who would you want to see him fight? He wants to fight Pacquiao. He's been targeting Pacquiao forever. He wants Pacquiao. But, of course, he wants Errol Spence. And, of course, Errol Spence is the fight that will define each man's legacy. He's to the point right now, though, where he's not going to let the business of boxing dictate who he is. But, yes, he wants the Errol Spence fight. But what you need is the group of fighters fighting in the PBC, the other promotional unit, to not just sit back and say, but I can make all this money just fighting each other and it's ready-made, of caring about the way you want to reflect on your career 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, the same way that Hearns gets to do, Hagler gets to do, Duran gets to do, and Sugar Ray Leonard gets the honor of doing, because the 4 kings between 147 pounds and 160 pounds back then, they didn't care. They fought each other because they wanted to define a legacy. Bud Crawford, have no doubt about it, is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Come Saturday night, he has to prove it again.
Saturday night, main card starts at 10 p.m. Eastern from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. You can catch it all on ESPN+.
Is it on pay-per-view?
It is not, Joe.
Is it on pay-per-view? It is not on pay-per-view. That is correct. Again, it's not on pay-per-view. You know why? Because we're serving the fan. And isn't it great to have these mega fights just there? Just hit the remote. Right there. ESPN. Boom. No $80. Right there. ESPN. Lock it.
Always great to have you on the show as well, Tess. Thank you so much. Good luck on the call Saturday night. We'll obviously be watching and listening.
And take all that money you're saving by not spending it on pay-per-view and follow Tyler and Joe's Get Hot Picks. Make it cash.
Thank you, Tess.
We love you, buddy.
Hashtag Get Hot. He started that the last time he came on. I got to tell you, though, I'm a little bit at odds, and I don't like this.
Okay.
Because he came on, and I was thinking, I got 2 for the fight.
Okay.
I like the under at 9.5. That's going to be the big play. I like Crawford to finish this thing. Brook's a counterpuncher. I think he's going to get in there and trade with him. And I think when it all comes said and done, Crawford does worry a little bit about the legacy to the extent he can do something about it. Put this guy down, do it in 6, 7, 8 rounds, send the message to everybody that there's nothing wrong. So I like the under 9.5. I also like Crawford by stoppage at minus 225. Okay. But Tess has got me shook now. He likes it to go the distance.
Yeah, that's I guess a little. He did make some good points about Brook, that this is not a tomato can.
He's not.
This guy is not afraid of anyone, Crawford included. So I can't wait to watch it. Good luck to you with your bets, and of course, Tess will have a great call Crawford and Brook.
So smooth, so polished, Joe Tess. We love you for coming on. All right, back to the NFL. Thursday Night Football tonight. It's the Tennessee Titans hosting the Indianapolis Colts in an AFC South showdown. First thing I want to talk about.
Why is the AFC South always on Thursday night? It seems like the Jags or the Titans play every single Thursday night. Is that a scheduling thing?
It feels like that all the time.
Don't know why.
And it just feels like Cleveland gets itself in there as well. Like very rare is it, hey, Thursday night,
uniforms.
New Orleans, Tampa Bay. Right, what do you say about that? I don't know. The AFC South was made for Thursday night. This game, very intriguing. Tennessee opened as a 2-point favorite on the look-ahead line. Lions came back out at the start of this week, 2-point favorite again. Last night, all of a sudden, a rush of Colts money moves it to pick'em. More Colts money today takes it all the way to Indy -1, 1.5 on the road. What do you make of the move? What do you think's driving it?
That's interesting to me because I don't know what is driving it, frankly. Indy has a great defense, and maybe they're just thinking that they have the personnel and scheme to limit Derrick Henry, even though Henry's been very successful against Matt Eberflus's defense in the last 3 meetings, averaging more than 100 yards and finding the paint twice. So they know how to defend both the pass and the run equally well. They're a top 10 defense in terms of both. That's why they're third in defensive DVOA overall, and they're third in average points allowed per game, this Indy defense. So maybe that's what's driving it. But I like the Titans as an underdog. I think they're the better team, even though their defense is not as good. You have someone like Derrick Henry who is matchup agnostic. Even if you have a great defense, it takes one carry for Derrick Henry to take it 90 yards to the house. He's just that big. He's just that good. And a guy like A.J. Brown, we talk about DK Metcalf and what he's doing coming out of Ole Miss. A.J. Brown's as big of a beast as DK Metcalf
I can't believe they were both at Ole Miss and they didn't win a title every single year. Those guys are incredible.
I just look at Tannehill, the better quarterback compared to Phillip Rivers at this point in his career. You have A.J. Brown. You have Derrick Henry. The coaching matchup, I think, is about the same level of respect for both Vrabel and Frank Reich. So I like the underdog in this matchup. And right now, a 1-point dog would be the Titans.
I have been told, per my rundown, that you have quite a few props you like tonight. If you'd be willing to shell.
So I'm more
share.
I think is what
that's the word I was interested in.
I'm more comfortable betting the total under 48.5 in this game than I am the side. You asked me how I was feeling about the side, but I'm more comfortable betting the under 48.5. And these props kind of exhibit that. I talked again about how I think both quarterbacks in passing games. The Indy passing game is just not that good. I know Tennessee doesn't have a great defense, and Adoree Jackson might not play in this game, which kind of helps Phillip Rivers again. But I just don't like investing in Phillip Rivers and T.Y. Hilton, who are both washed at this point in their career. So, with extra,
you don't see me arguing.
With extra rest coming on a Thursday night game before they play again in Week 11, Derrick Henry's going to have some extra days to get right for their next matchup. So I think Mike Vrabel's going to pound him. The guy already averages 22-plus carries per game. I think he's going to get that 22 to 25 carries because the Indy pass defense, although they're great against the run, they're elite against the pass. They have the lowest QB rating allowed of any defense in the NFL. They've allowed just 10 touchdown passes, which is second fewest in the NFL behind only the Rams. So I think smart coaching, rational coaching from Arthur Smith and from Mike Vrabel says, as great as you've been for us, Ryan Tannehill, and as great as you are, A.J. Brown, let's turn it over to the big dog. Because in his last 3 meetings against this Indianapolis team, 108 rushing yards per game and 2 touchdowns. This Indy defense is allowing just 3.12 yards per carry, but if anyone is going to beat that expectation, it would be Derrick Henry. So I think he goes over 20.5 rushing attempts. If he's running the rock a lot, I like Darius Leonard to go over 7.5 tackles and or assists because he's averaging
about 8.5.
Averaging about 8.5. And then Ryan Tannehill, like I said, with this defense that he's going up against, take the ball out of his hands. Even though he's proven to be very capable, give it to Derrick Henry. I think he goes under 245.5 passing yards, which is minus 115 with the juice there on Ryan Tannehill. So, again, a Derrick Henry running the rock game. Tannehill does only a little. They go under a low-scoring 21-18, 21-17, 21-19 type of game with Tennessee winning.
Colts, Titans, over, under. Of those 4 options, which is your favorite?
It's the under. I think the under is my favorite of that. If I have to pick a side and or a side of the total, I'm going to go under as my most confident bet, 48.5.
There you go. I will be taking the Indianapolis Colts, following the steam, as they say. Wrote this one up a couple days ago for chalk. I did not anticipate the line movement. But the bottom line for me here is this. There are 2 narratives coming into this game. Number 1, that Indianapolis doesn't play anybody. That's true. They haven't really played anybody at all this year. But let's take a look at Tennessee, same division. Last 4 games, They won an overtime battle against a terrible Houston Texans team. They lost to Pittsburgh, lost to Cincinnati, and then eked by Chicago last week, the same Bears team that this Colts team beat a few weeks ago as well. So that's number one. Narrative, neither team's played anybody. Number two, Phillip Rivers and whether or not he can get the job done. Phillip Rivers against top 10 defenses, of which he's played a few this season, has a quarterback rating of 72. He's terrible. But when he plays bad defenses, teams that rank 20th or worse in total defense, he lights them up for a quarterback rating of 98. That's rock solid. Tonight, the Tennessee Titans rank 25th in total defense. And as a result, I think Rivers is going to feast a little bit tonight. Not a huge game, but enough to get it done going with the Indianapolis Colts.
So it sounds like we are a little bit on opposite sides. Here you go, my friend.
Bets.
There you go.
But I do like your Darius Leonard pick very much. I have already played that one.
Nice.
Now, we've got a big matchup this weekend, and it's going to involve two very exciting young quarterbacks. Two rookie quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers, they just find the greatest ways to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. They're traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins, also known as Mammals, in a matchup where Miami is favored by 2.5. Right now, Joe Burrow from Cincinnati and Justin Herbert from the Chargers, they are co-favorites to win the Rookie of the Year. They're even money plus 100. Tua, who's only started 2 games now, plus 1,000. So we're going to see it this week. Does the winner of this game become the front runner to win the Rookie of the Year
Not necessarily.
Not
if
necessarily.
Joe Burrow goes out there and gets another victory, he'll be very much in the thick of it. Tua, obviously, the issue for him is that he's starting, from behind. There's a massive head start in terms of the game and games, an opportunity that both Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow have had to this point in the season. However, Tua might provide some value because if Miami keeps winning, even though it's been on the basis of their defense, if as a starter Tua goes 7-1, 8-1, whatever it is, how many games they have left, there's only 1 or 2 losses, and they ended up running down the Bills in the AFC East, which I think they can do because their defense is going to keep them in every single game. And Tua showed us a little something against the Arizona Cardinals, going toe-for-toe with Kyler Murray, who's also a pretty good long shot, dark horse MVP candidate because of the stats he's going to put up this year, depending on where the Cardinals end up finishing. So I think Herbert has more to gain, so to speak, from this individual game. But again, later in the season, if Miami keeps winning, Tua is going to creep up on those two because Miami's going to have the best record of those 3 teams. I think it's without question Cincinnati, the LA Chargers, and the Miami Dolphins.
Miami's laying 2.5 here. Total, as you can see at the bottom, 48.5. If you're making a bet, which way are you going?
Going over that.
Over.
Yeah, during the last month, nobody averages more plays per game than the LA Chargers. How about that? They're running at hyper speed with Justin Herbert there. And only the Cardinals and Seahawks have been involved in games that average more combined snaps. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity. We have a game that's going to be fast-paced, 2 teams that like to throw now. I mean, with no Myles Gaskin, Tua is throwing the rock a little bit more. 2 defenses. Again, Miami's defense scares me a little bit because they do defend the pass well, and they do have a good pass rush, but Miami has kicked up their pace as well. Ever since Tua became the quarterback, they've jumped from 31st in situation-neutral pace to 15th. They've chopped off half the league in terms of getting faster with their pace, averaging almost 3 seconds less per play, per snap. So they're playing fast. The Chargers are playing fast. We have 2 capable quarterbacks here. The rookie QBs have been great. I think I'm going over 48.5 because we have hyper speed, young, talented QBs.
I am going to do something doctors across the world advise not to do, and I'm going to bet the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm hoping it gets to 3. I might wait to see if the public pushes this up to 3. Would love the field goal, but I will play it at plus 2.5. Let's start with this. Every time we see the Chargers playing football, they are losing in just spectacular fashion, and then social media lights them up with a plethora of jokes. Meanwhile, we've seen Miami win 2 big games over the last 2 weeks, beating the Rams and the Cardinals. So Miami opens as a 3-point favorite, and it moves down to 2.5. Something smells mammally, if you catch my drift. Not fishy. Something smells mammally here. Doesn't work? I thought, maybe someone out there laughed. Thanks, Mom. I know you're watching.
Mammals do have a distinct smell from time to time. I think that's fair.
The point is, Chargers are 1-6 in 1-score games this season. That's insane considering we're entering Week 10. Positive regression is coming. I like the Chargers this week over the Dolphins. Now, speaking of more bets we like, Thursday, it's time for the Parlay to Paradise. Here's how we did last week. Did we win?
No bueno.
We most certainly did not.
Started hot, finished awful.
Yeah, you got us started there very nicely. Bucci, thank you for throwing Notre Dame right in our face.
Yeah.
We both like Clemson. We said this is a loser. Bucci picks a winner. So there's where we're at. We're moving past it. You've got 4. I've got 4. We got a special guest we'll get to. We'll start with you. Where are you going?
Panthers, 5.5-point home dogs. Like them against the Bucks. I'll take that head start with Teddy, the ATS god, who covers 75%. Broncos, Raiders, over 50. I think Drew Lock and Derek Carr have a shootout. Packers, Jaguars, also over 50. Most of that coming from Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. And then I like Bears, a money line home dog against the Vikings, plus 130. That's my 4.
Let's take Carolina out of the equation because you and I had a classic draw this morning. So that gets me the Tampa Bay selection. You ended up actually going with who in that spot?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I couldn't take that one. So I took the over in the Rams-Seahawks. Apologies.
Very nicely done. Should
over.
be a shootout.
Thank you for reminding. Yeah, again, shootout.
Rams should have no problem coming off
Seahawks
the
allow
bye,
everyone to score 30.
putting up points there. Here are the 4 I'm going to be going with. Starting with number 1, the Ravens laying 7 against the Patriots. The Patriots just made the Jets look like a very capable offense. No bueno. I don't care if Lamar Jackson has problems with the offensive coordinator right now. They should blow past New England. The Chargers, as we just mentioned, over the Dolphins. Something smells mammally. Trademark. Can't use that out there. The Rams over the Seahawks. You get 2 weeks to get ready for this defense that ranks 32nd in total defense, 30th in scoring defense. Sean McVay should have his way here.
Yeah.
Rams defense also has 2 weeks to get ready for Russell Wilson. And the Buccaneers over the Panthers. Brady and his team humiliated at home on Sunday night against New Orleans. The Panthers have been living on the edge like Tampa Bay minus the 5.5. But as you and I know,
yeah, well, I guess I hope I lose only this bet if it means we get a parlay to paradise.
Special guest this week, none other than throw me the damn ball. Keyshawn Johnson.
Oh, he's fight on.
Going with his alma mater, USC, minus 14 over Arizona. Can't complain. Based on the way we pick, Keyshawn, thank you so much.
He also liked the Packers with points, which I do as well.
He threw us a bonus pick.
Like that.
Keyshawn was cool enough to throw us a bonus pick.
I like laying the wood with the pack.
Keyshawn, we salute you. Thank you so much. We got to recap a little Masters action today. 44 golfers did not finish their round because it was a late start at Augusta National for the Masters. Don't worry, they'll conclude early tomorrow morning. It's Paul Casey with your lead at 7 under. Basically, we want to assess where you and I were coming into this tournament. I like Patrick Reed. He shot 4 under. You like Bryson DeChambeau, the favorite. He's 2 under.
Right.
How do you feel after round 1?
I feel okay because he probably should be 5 under. If he plays this round 10 times exactly the same way, he's probably going to be 5 under 8 out of those 10 times. That 13th hole, which should be one of the easier ones with Bryson's length, to go over the trees and cut the corner and make it a sand wedge in. He somehow double bogeyed that. That's for Bryson when he says he's playing this course at par 67. He triple bogeyed that with a 7, not a double bogey. So that hole wrecked him, but he still bounced back to come in to the clubhouse at 2 under. So if he just puts together solid Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I still feel good about him. Why not now? Going into Thursday before we teed off, he was 8-1. Now 14-1 on the live odds at Caesars William Hill.
Would you jump back in?
I'm going to invest into that.
Yeah.
Again, it was
one
hole that derailed him. Otherwise, he's 2 off the lead and in front of Tiger Woods, and we're talking about, oh man, he's going to run away with this. So I think as long as he cuts that 1 hole out, gets better as the week goes on, I still like him at 14-1. I'm going to reinvest. I'm going to reinvest into DeChambeau.
Reinvest. I took Patrick Reed at 30-1. He's 4 under. Nothing to see here. Going to hang tight on that one. Love the way Justin Thomas has been playing as well. We got to mention Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? I was a major fade. I was like, no, Jason Day, no problem beating Tiger Woods in the first round. I don't even know how Day finished because Woods was blowing him out so badly at the beginning of this thing. I just marked it a loser and moved on with my day. I just focused on rooting for Tiger. He's incredible.
Bogey-free, his first time in 106 major rounds. First time he's done it at the Masters. His lowest first round at the Masters. Usually he comes in like 1 or 2 under par when he's won. This has been the best Thursday he's ever had at the Masters, which we didn't see coming. He was 35-1 before we teed off, and he's now 18-1. My concern is this was as good as he can play.
You think so?
And this course, I think, is going to get dominated by guys like DeChambeau, like JT, John Rahm. I think 18 under might win this week with the conditions. And I don't know if Tiger's got that for 4 rounds. I hope I'm wrong.
It's tied for 5th right now. John Rahm has been playing very well.
It's a great leaderboard.
Justin Thomas has been playing well.
A great leaderboard.
Shaping up fantastic. Jordan Spieth still hasn't gotten the head right. Like he went out and you were hoping, there could be some value. He's a mess, man.
Here's my bet that after going, I think he shot 2 or 3 over today when everyone was tearing this course apart. He's going to come back on Friday and fire like a 65. Then on Saturday, he's going to fire a 77. Then on Sunday, he's going to fire a 66. The guy is a roller coaster right now, so kind of I expect a couple of good rounds, but there's also going to be a couple of really bad rounds from Spieth.
There you have it. Been a solid week for us here at Bet. Thank you so much. The recap on the Eliminator is who?
Packers. Take the Packers, avoid the Browns.
It's been hot.
Avoid the Browns. Let's make the week 11, baby.
I've got the Colts tonight. I believe you have the under.
I have the under, 48.5.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great weekend. We will be back on Monday.